You're on the air.
Good morning, Lee. It's Laurence.
Good morning, Laurence. Thank you for calling in today. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
You know, I want to make a little bit of an intro. This is Laurence, owner, creator, and the master formulator of Nature's Purest vitamins. And I'm talking like morals, scruples, ethically speaking. You're the bomb, man. You are the bomb. You do it right, and you break all the rules in your rightness, that's what we're after.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Is there any more?
I'm telling it like it is this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, just you're blowing my socks off with everything you come up with, because you're like, forget what everybody else in the industry is doing. We're going to make vitamins that are going to be the top in product. There's going to be nothing that can touch them. Purity, potency, the ability of the body to assimilate, because the products are exactly what the body can identify and bring in. Hey, man, I want to turn it over to you, because you're going to tell us some science on the development, I believe, of your multivitamin. And when people hear this, they're going to be blown away.
Great. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for all the compliments. Multivitamins, we have 3 levels. We have a 1 a day for people who are not concerned that much with potency, but just more concerned with how much can fit into one pill. Unfortunately, there's no way to put high levels of vitamins and minerals in one pill. It just physically doesn't fit. We can fit about 1,000 milligrams of powder into a large 00 capsule, and just the RDA alone of calcium from a great form or source like calcium hydroxyapatite or even USP calcitrate is going to fill up 4 pills, just one mineral, just the RDA. So we know right away that a 1 a day is not going to give people optimum levels. But some people just want 1 a day, and for them we have one. So at least hopefully it'll prevent deficiencies in most of these cases. The next level up, we have a men's and a women's multi. So that's a mid-range potency. We've got Ultra Man and Ultra Woman. And so we have the luxury of having a few more capsules. We can put in higher levels of vitamins and minerals. And then we have the Ultra Vitamin, which is 4 capsules and is being reformulated now, I believe, to be 5 capsules. And that has what I would consider to be more optimum levels of vitamins and minerals. And we do things a little differently around here. So I'm just going to go over some of the basic differences between the way we make our formulas versus the conventional formulas that you'll see in the store. We use natural rather than synthetic vitamins. All of our formulas are made right here in the USA. They're all non-irradiated and non-GMO, and that primarily came from a lot of these issues primarily came from my own diet. I want to be able to take my own supplements. I don't eat irradiated foods, and I don't eat GMOs, so I didn't want to put those in the vitamin formulas, but it turns out that almost all of the conventional vitamins and minerals have these disadvantages, these issues that I'm going to go over. They're all pharmaceutical-grade capsules rather than glued-together, compressed, rock-hard tablets. They're all bottled in amber glass rather than plastic. And we use true chelated minerals rather than inorganic or these general, they call them proteinates or quote-unquote chelates, but they're not really true chelated minerals. We use 100% calcium hydroxyapatite from New Zealand in all of our formulas rather than conventional forms of calcium. All the vitamin A in all of our formulas is 100% natural beta-carotene from marine algae. Most of the vitamin A is acetate or palmitate. And even if they go the extra mile and use beta-carotene instead, which is much more costly, it's almost always synthetically derived from the same petroleum that we put in our car. All of the vitamin C in all of our formulas is non-GMO, non-acidic calcium ascorbate. Most vitamin C is GMO, ascorbic acid. All of the vitamin E and mixed tocopherols in all of our formulas are natural and non-GMO. Most vitamin E is synthesized from the same petroleum that we put in our car or from GMO soy. And finally, we use higher levels of vitamins and minerals than conventional multis. So initially, I mentioned that we use capsules instead of tablets. Conventional multivitamins are produced in tablet form. We use pharmaceutical-grade gelatin capsules, which are more soluble and it allows to make a more pure formula. We don't need all the additives that they use when they make a tablet. A pharmaceutical-grade gelatin capsule will dissolve within 15 or 20 seconds after putting it in your mouth. I was interested in veggie caps, and now and then store owners will ask us if we've switched to veggie caps yet. And I was personally interested because I'm primarily vegan, and I'm very careful about the types of animal products I ingest. So I don't even eat capsules. I have to pull them apart, and I don't have to, but I choose to pull them open and pour the powder out. And most of these powders taste terrible, and I don't look forward to taking my supplements because it's 15, 20 grams of powder that tastes terrible, and I just slug it down because I would prefer not to eat the capsules. But these products that are so-called veggie caps are actually not made from vegetables at all. They're made of hydropropyl methylcellulose, which is derived from the pulp of trees. It's used primarily in construction materials like tile adhesives, and I'd rather not eat it. When a producer starts making actual capsules from vegetables, I'll look forward to trying them, but for now I'm going to stick with these gelatin capsules and just pull them apart myself. Empty pharmaceutical grade, and they're expensive. Empty pharmaceutical grade gelatin capsules alone cost more than many complete multivitamin tablet products that you'll see on a store shelf. The tablets are used to save money. They're glues, gums, binders, fillers, and lubricants, all very inexpensive. And they're ground, which creates friction and destroys nutritional value, like overcooking. Then they're crushed under thousands of pounds of pressure per square inch into these rock-hard tablets that may or may not dissolve in time to do the body any good. And there's currently no legislation enforcing that vitamin tablets break down in any certain amount of time. Drugs legally have to break down. Somebody's life could depend on it. They have to break down within a certain amount of time. But a multivitamin, there are no laws enforcing that they have to break down. So if a multivitamin takes more than 2 hours to completely dissolve into solution, it'll be past the point where most nutrient absorption takes place, which is the very beginning of the small intestine. And at that point, it doesn't matter if it does or doesn't dissolve. It doesn't matter if it even dissolves in the lower GI tract or in the sewer system. It's past the point where nutrient absorption or most nutrient absorption takes place. Then we also, another thing that we do differently is we use amber glass bottles instead of plastic bottles. Glass provides a better barrier to the elements that reduce the potency of vitamins over time, like light, oxygen, moisture. And amber glass costs more than plastic, but the real expense is in the additional freight costs. UPS now charges over $1 a pound for us to ship these bottles to the stores. And the empty glass bottles alone weigh more than most complete formulas in plastic bottles. And our UPS bill is more than doubled just because we use glass bottles rather than plastic. And I can say I've spent about $1 million with UPS. So that one decision alone, just on freight, has cost $500,000 out of my pocket. And also, there's the issue of breakage. And all of this for what? Just to make the product stay fresher and potent longer. And here are the ingredients. We'll start with beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is referred to as provitamin A. It's converted to vitamin A as needed by the body. It's non-toxic. And as a result, it's safer than conventional vitamin A supplements. All of our vitamin A is 100% natural beta-carotene from marine algae. And most manufacturers use acetate or palmitate vitamin A. And even if they go the extra mile and use beta-carotene instead, which is much more costly, it's almost always synthetically derived from petroleum. If they switch to natural beta-carotene like ours, the potency drops, and the cost goes up to over $400 a kilo. So not only do we have to use twice as much to meet the label claim because the potency is lower than synthetic, but the price per kilo is 6 times higher. So that means it costs the manufacturer 12 times as much money to deliver natural beta-carotene than synthetic, and that's why it's rarely seen in a multivitamin. And like all carotenoids, a beadlet form is much more stable than a powder, and that's all we use. Most dry beta-carotene is in a powder form. It costs less than a beadlet, but it will lose its potency faster. And another issue is testing. All of our beta-carotene, like all of our vitamins and minerals, are HPLC tested, not UV tested. The next one is vitamin E. All of our vitamin E and mixed tocopherols are natural and non-GMO. They're not synthesized from petroleum or GMO soy, like almost all the vitamin E in health food stores. Vitamin E is almost always derived from soy. If it's natural, it's derived from, or quote-unquote natural, it's derived from soy, which is a GMO crop. And we found a non-GMO natural vitamin E in mixed-tocopherol producer, but it was double the cost of the highest-end vitamin E manufacturer's price. And if you can pause this or maybe make a note to come back around later, if you go to YouTube and put in Food Inc., INC, that's short for incorporated, Food Inc. clip, 3 words. If you put that in, if you haven't seen this film, if you have a chance to watch the entire film, I hope you do. And if you have, I hope you watch it again. In the late 80s, the Supreme Court for the first time said that people and corporations were able to patent life. And Monsanto then patented a gene that resists the poison that they produce called Roundup. Monsanto's a chemical company, and they produce DDT and Agent Orange. They produce DDT and Agent Orange. They don't anymore. They can spray Roundup poison all over the soy plants, and they don't die. Just kills the weeds around them. And farmers now can no longer legally save their own seeds. And that's where natural vitamin E, they call it natural vitamin E, is derived from. And I won't eat that. I won't eat GMO soy. I don't eat soy at all, so I don't want to ingest it daily in my multi. The other option, and the other maybe most conventional form and source of vitamin E that we see in health food stores is synthetic. It's DL-alpha. And by the way, they won't usually use the word natural on the label. The only way that a consumer is going to know whether they're getting natural, supposedly natural, it's tricky because of the issues we're talking about, what really is natural now. But if it says DL, all we can be tipped off with is this one letter, DL-alpha, as opposed to D-alpha. DL-alpha means it's synthetic, and D-alpha should mean it's natural. In our case, it really is natural. If it's synthetically derived, it's synthetically derived from the same petroleum that we put in our cars. I wouldn't eat that either. And the problem is that most people just don't know that this is where their vitamins come from. If they knew, they would vote with their wallet and they would buy formulas made like ours. They just don't know. And no vitamin on the market today boasts on the label synthetically derived vitamins made from petroleum, yet that's exactly what the vast majority are. The next vitamin is vitamin C. All of our vitamin C is non-acidic calcium ascorbate. Vitamin C, by the way, is almost always derived from corn. Corn is another GMO crop. I don't eat any GMOs that I know of. So we found a vitamin C manufacturer that uses non-GMO corn. And also conventional vitamin C is in the ascorbic acid form. Ascorbic acid is highly acidic, and it can cause side effects, especially in higher amounts, like upset stomach, nausea, diarrhea. 100% of our vitamin C is non-acidic calcium ascorbate. So it's non-acidic. It's also 40% more expensive and 17% lower in potency than ascorbic acid. So why would a vitamin company use ascorbic acid when they know that there are side effects? And it's to lower the cost of their vitamin C by 50%. Going into the minerals, calcium, we use 100% calcium hydroxyapatite from New Zealand in all of our multis. The only other calcium is a small amount that comes from our vitamin C. It's called calcium ascorbate because the producer binds that highly acidic vitamin C to some calcium to make it pH neutral. So we get a little free calcium from our vitamin C, but all of the calcium that we're adding is 100% calcium hydroxyapatite from New Zealand. It's around $14 a kilo, and it's only about 25% calcium. Calcium carbonate comes from oyster shell. It's about $1 a kilo, and it's about 40% calcium. So it costs us 20 times as much money to deliver calcium as it would have if we used calcium carbonate. Even calcium citrate is less than half the cost of calcium hydroxyapatite from New Zealand, and that's why it's rarely seen in a multi. I don't think I've ever seen it in a multi other than ours. Next are the other minerals. We use true chelated minerals, and we list the specific amino acid the mineral is chelated to. Most manufacturers use general terms most manufacturers don't even use chelated minerals. They'll just use inorganic minerals. But if they do claim a chelated mineral, they use a general term like chelate or chelated or proteinate. And that just means that they took a mineral, they added water, and they added some protein powder, and they mixed it into a slurry and then dried it. That's not the same as binding a mineral to a specific amino acid. The former is absorbed at a higher rate, but it costs more. And the only way a mineral can do our body any good is to get absorbed into our cells. And minerals can't make it through the cell membrane alone. They have to link up with an amino acid in our body. Amino acids have an affinity to cell membranes. Once the amino acid binds to the mineral, it piggybacks its way through the cell membrane into the cell where it can be utilized. True chelated minerals, the ones we use, are about half the potency of inorganic minerals, and they're double the price. So, for example, it costs around 4 times as much money to deliver 30 milligrams of zinc from zinc aspartate as 30 milligrams of zinc from zinc sulfate, for example. Zinc aspartate is only 20%, but zinc sulfate is 36%. So we need almost twice as much to meet the label claim. And that's, again, why we rarely see true chelated minerals in a multivitamin formula. And in terms of potencies, as I described earlier, we've got 3 levels. And I can go over some basic quantities. We will put in 50 milligrams of Bs in the Essential One, Ultraman, Ultrawoman. Ultravitamin is going to have double. It's going to have about the 100 milligram B vitamin range. Essential One is going to have about 5,000 of vitamin A. Ultraman, Ultrawoman will have 10,000, and Ultravitamin will have 25,000. So this will give you a basic idea of the differences in levels. We've also just added and mixed tocopherols and switched from conventional vitamin K to vitamin K2 as menaquinone 7, and we put 2,000 IU of vitamin D in all of our multis, just like all of our calcium formulas. So if you take a Nature's Purest multi along with the Nature's Purest calcium, you'll get 4,000 IU of vitamin D a day, and you may not need to supplement vitamin D. And if you want to take a look at the exact formulations, feel free to go to naturespurest.com, and you can click on the supplement facts panel for each multi, and it'll pop up, and you'll see exactly what's in it. And I think that pretty much covers everything.
Well, you're leading the way. Show me another multivitamin with that quality, the absorbability because of the ingredients. Awesome.
Well, thank you. And the funny thing about our formulas is the prices. We have the best prices in the industry, which is ironic that we make these decisions constantly that increase the cost of the formulas, decision after decision after decision, and yet I look at the competition and their prices are still higher than ours, which makes sense. That's why they are household names, and that's exactly why they are so popular. Is I can only imagine how much money they must have to pay for reps and for promotion and advertising, because they're making products at an extremely low cost. We're making them at an extremely high cost. And then they're selling them at an extremely high cost, and we're selling them at a low cost. So by making something at such a low cost and selling it at such a high cost, I look at some of these formulas, and I know they were put together for $2 or $3, and yet they're selling for $30. All I can think about is it's so wildly profitable. It makes sense. They're brands, these ubiquitous brands that you see in all the health food stores. It's almost like asking a person what the most popular restaurant is in America. Most people are going to say McDonald's or KFC or Burger King or Jack in the Box. Mm-hmm. I don't eat in any of those places, but the fact is that those are the most popular restaurants. That is where most Americans eat, and it doesn't mean that that's the best food. And the same holds true for these common brands that we see in health food stores. Those are the popular brands that everyone knows, but that doesn't mean that they're the best. And on the contrary, they might not be very good at all. They just have a lot of very, very effective advertising and marketing, and the public doesn't really have a very objective way to judge the quality, because it's not like an apple or an orange. They can't pick it up and smell it and taste it and look at it. It's just a bottle of pills, and it's hard to know exactly what went into it. So it's tricky. But that's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to pull back the curtain and provide the kind of information that the public normally doesn't get about where these raw materials are derived from, what forms they're in, and the decisions as a manufacturer that I've personally made to make the product better, even though it makes it cost more. But fortunately, because we're working hard, the end consumer is not paying a high price. They're just getting an incredibly high-quality product.